Good afternoon, friends. This is your CNS lecture. In today's lecture, we have to start our fifth unit, that is application layer. In this unit, we have to cover in 7 hours. Okay. In this unit, we have to cover these following points like introduction to application layer, standard client server protocols, then in that World Wide Web and HTTP, FTP, electronic mail, telenet, okay, SSH, DNS, network management in network management there is the introduction and SNMP. These points we have to cover. But before start to our actual syllabus, I will start with the transmission control protocol, which is most important point to got the concept or actual syllabus. Okay, so without wasting our time, I will start with the transmission control protocol. Transmission control protocol, short form is capital TCP. What is the transmission control protocol? Transmission control protocol TCP is a standard that defines how to establish and maintain a network, clear and conversion by which applications can exchange the data. TCP work with the internet protocol. IP protocol means internet protocol, which defines how computers send packets of data to each other. Right? Together, TCP and IP are the basic rules that define the internet. The Internet Engineering Task Force, that is IETF, defined TCP in the request for comment RFC standard document number 793. Okay, here is how transmission control protocol work. TCP is a connection oriented protocol, which means a connection is established and maintained until the applications at each end have finished exchanging messages. Okay, then TCP perform the following action. Which actions performed by TCP? First, it determines how to break application data into the packets and networks and can deliver. Okay, next it TCP send packets to and accept packets from the network layer. Next is TCP manages the flow control. TCP handles retransmission of drop or garbled packets at its means to provide error-free data transmission. Okay, and acknowledges all packets that arrive. Clear? These are the actions performed by the TCP. In the Open System Interconnection OSI communication model, TCP covers part of layers, 4 layers, the transport layer, and part of 5 layers, the session layer. Clear? When a web server sends an HTML file to a client, it uses the Hypertext Transfer Protocol (HTTP) to do so. The HTTP program layer asks the TCP layer to send up the connection and send the file. Okay, the TCP stack divides the file into the data packets, number them and then forward them individually to the IP layer for delivery. Here is the OSI versus TCP IP model. In OSI model, there is a 7 layers like application, presentation, session, transport, network, data layer, and physical layer. Right? In TCP/IP, there is only 4 layers. It is application layer, transport layer, network layer, and physical layer. Clear? Data link and physical combined here in TCP/IP, and application, presentation, and session is combined in application only. Clear? These are the different layers in TCP/IP stack and OSI model. These are the important layers which you know in this to learn the concept of fifth unit. Okay? In our unit, we have to learn these layers in detail, one by one. Okay? Then, although each packet in the transmission has the same source and destination IP address, the packets may be sent along multiple routes. The TCP program layer in the client computer wait until all packets have arrived. It then acknowledges those it receives and asks for the transmission of any it does not. Based on missing packet numbers, the TCP layer then assembles the packets into a file and delivers the file to the receiving applications. Clear? Here we got the concept what actually happened. Here is the TCP versus UDP. TCP means Transfer Control Protocol and UDP means User Datagram Protocol. Okay? Here we have to know the difference between TCP and UDP. We got the concept here. Difference between both. This process of error detection in which TCP retransmit and records packet after they arrive can introduce latency in a TCP stream. Highly time sensitive applications such as voice over IP (VoIP), streaming video and gaming generally rely on a transport processes such as user datagram protocol because it reduces the latency and jitter by not reordering packets or retransmitting missing data. Okay? UDP is classified as a datagram protocol or connectionless protocol because it has no way of detecting whether both applications have finished their back and forth clear communication. Instead of correcting invalid data packets as TCP does not TCP does, UDP discards those packets and defers to the application layer for more detailed error detection. Clear? The header of a UDP datagram contains far less information than a TCP segment header. The UDP header also goes through much less processing at the transport layer in the interest of reduced latency. Clear? Here what TCP is used for? The TCP is used for organizing data in a way that ensures the secure transmission between the server and client. It guarantees the integrity of data sent over the network regardless of the document. For this reason, it is used to transmit data from other high level protocols that requires all transmitted data to arrive. Example of these protocols include the following: Secure Shell SSH, the File Transfer Protocol FTP, the Telnet is there for peer to peer, file sharing is there, and in Telnet case, logging into another user's computer to access a file. Okay, a simple mail transfer protocol SMTP, post office protocol POP, internet message access protocol IMAP for sending and receiving email, HTTP for web access. These examples all exist at the application layer of the TCP/IP stack, and send data downwards to TCP on the transport layer. Okay, why TCP is important? TCP is important because it establishes the rules and standard procedures for the way information is communicated over the internet. It is the foundation for the internet as it currently exists and ensures that data transmission is carried out uniformly, regardless of the location, hardware, or software involved. TCP is flexible and highly scalable, meaning new protocol can be introduced to it and it will accommodate them. It is also non-proprietary, meaning no one person or company owns it. Clear? Here we know the importance of the TCP. Now we have to find the location in the TCP IP stack. The TCP IP stack is a model that represents how data is organized and exchanged over network. Using the TCP IP protocol, it depicts a series of layers that represent the way is handled and packaged by a series of protocol as it makes its way from client to server and vice versa. TCP exists in the transport layer with other protocols such as UDP protocols in this layer ensures the error-free transmission of data to the source, except from UDP because it has more limited error checking capabilities. Like the OSI model, the TCP/IP stack is a conceptual model for data exchange standards. Data is repackaged at each layer based on its functionality and transport protocol. Okay, requests come down to the server through the stack. starting at the application layer as data. From there, the information is broken into packets of different types at each layer. The data move the following way: from the application to the transport layer, where it is stored into TCP segments, to the internet layer, where it becomes a datagram, to the network interface layer, where it breaks apart again into bit and frames, and as the server responds, it travels up through the stack to arrive at the application layer as data. TCP IP versus OSI model. The main difference between the TCP IP model and OSI model is the level of specificity. The OSI model is a more abstract representation of the way data is exchanged and not specific to any protocol. It is a framework for general networking systems. The TCP IP stack is more specific and comprises the domain set of protocol used to exchange the data. The OSI model is abstract and based more on functionality, while the TCP IP stack is concrete and protocol based. Further, the OSI model has 7 layers, whereas TCP IP model has 4 layers. Here is the OSI model. The Open System Interconnect is an open standard for all communication system. OSI model is established by International Standard Organization. This model has 7 layers: application layer, presentation layer, session layer, transport layer, network layer, data layer, and physical layer. Clear? Application layer is there. This layer is responsible for providing interface to the application user. This layer encompasses protocol which directly interact with the user. Okay. Second layer is presentation layer. This layer defines how data is the native format of remote host should be presented in the native format of host. Third is session layer. This layer maintains the session between the remote host. For example, once user /password authentication is done, the remote host maintains this session for a while and does not ask for authentication again in that time span. Okay. Next layer is transport layer. This layer is responsible for end-to-end delivery between the host. Okay. Then after that there is a network layer. This layer is responsible for address assignment and uniquely addressing host in the network. After that, data layer, data link layer. This layer is responsible for writing data from and onto the line. Link error are detected at this layer. Okay. After that, physical layer is there. This layer defines the hardware, cabling, writing, power output, pulse rate, etc. Okay. Internet model is there. IP model. Internet uses TCP/IP protocol. This is internet model. Internet uses the TCP/IP protocol, also known as internet suite. This defines internet model, which contains four-layer architecture. OSI model is general communication model, but internet model is what the internet uses for all its communication. The internet is independent of its underlying network architecture, so its model is its model. This model has the following layer. Okay, application layer, transport layer, internet layer, and link layer. Application layer, this layer defines the protocol which enable users to interact with the network. For example, FTP, HTTP, etc. Transport layer is there. This layer defines how data should flow between the host. Major protocol at this layer is transmission control protocol. This layer ensures data delivered between hosts is in order and it is responsible for end-to-end delivery. Internet layer is there. Internet protocol work on this layer. This layer facilitates host addressing and recognition. This layer defines routing. Link layer is there. This layer provides mechanism of sending and receiving actual data. Unlike its OSI model counterpart, this layer is independent of underlying network architecture and hardware is there. This is all about the introduction and important part of the TCP which is required to understand the further concept. Okay, now we will go through the application layer introduction. First point of our topic is introduction to application layer. We will move towards that. Application layer introduction. Application layer is the topmost layer in OSI and TCP/IP layered model. This layer exists in both layered models because of its significance of interacting with user and user applications. This layer is for applications which are involved in communication system. The user may or may not directly interact with the applications. Application layer is where the actual communication is initiated and reflects. Because this layer is on the top of the layer stack, it does not serve any other layers. Application layer takes the help of transport and all layers below it to communicate or transfer its data to the remote host. When an application layer protocol want to communicate with its peer application layer protocol on remote host, it hands over the data or information to the transport layer. The transport layer does the rest with the help of the layer below it. Application layer, application data and information contains the application layer, presentation layer and session layer. Clear? After that, next layer is transport layer, network layer, data link layer and physical layer. There is an ambiguity in understanding application layer and its protocol. Not every user application can be put into the application layer except those applications which interact with the communication system. For example, designing software or text editor cannot be considered as application layer program. On the other hand, when we use the web browser, which is actually using the hypertext transfer protocol HTTP to interact with the network. HTTP is application layer protocol. Another example is file transfer protocol, which help a user to transfer text based on binary file across the network. The user can use this protocol in either GUI based software like FileZilla or QtFTP, and the same users can use FTP in command line mode. Hence, irrespective of which software used, hence irrespective of which software used, it is the protocol which is considered at application layer used by that software. DNS is a protocol which help user application protocols such as HTTP to accomplish its work. We remote application processes can communicate mainly in two different fashions: peer to peer and client server. Peer to peer, both remote processes are executing at same level and they exchange data using some shared resources. Client server, one remote process act as a client and request some resources from another application process acting as a server. In client server model, any processes can act as a server or client. It is not the type of machine, size of the machine or its computing power which make it server. It is the ability of surviving requests that make a machine a server. Okay, this is the model. Here request and response are there. Network is connected to many clients. There is one server and different clients are there. Here system can act as a server and client simultaneously. This is one process is acting as a server and another is acting as a client. This may also happen that both client and server processes reside on the same machine. Here is the communication. Two processes in client server model can interact in various ways. First one is sockets and second one is remote procedure cells. Okay, first one is socket. In this paradigm, the process acting as a server opens a socket using a well-known or known by client port and wait until some client request come. The second process acting as a client also open a socket, but instead of waiting for an incoming request, the client processes request first. Server program is there. See the diagram. Here is the server program. In server program, here is the client program. There is socket, transport layer, network layer, data link layer and physical layer. Clear? Client program send data to socket, socket is sent to transport layer and after that given to the socket of server program and then server program is catches the data. When the request is reached to server, it is served. It can either be an information sharing or resource request. Here the remote procedure cell is there. This is a mechanism where one process interact with another by means of procedure cells. One process client calls the procedure laying on remote host. The process on remote host is said to be server. Both processes are located stubs. This communication happens in the following way. The client process calls the client stub. It passes all the parameters pertaining to program local to it. All parameters are then packed, marshaled and a system call is made to send them to other side of the network. The kernel sends the data over the network and the other end receives it. The remote host passes data to the server stub where it is unmarshaled. The parameters are passed to the procedure and the procedure is then executed. The result is sent back to the client in the same manner. This is all about the remote procedure cell. Now we will move towards the application protocol in computer network. There are several protocols which work for users in application layer. Application layer protocol can be broadly divided into two categories. Protocols which are used by user for email, for example email. Protocols which help and support protocols used by users, for example DNS. Few of application layer protocols are described below. First one is domain name system. The domain name system works on client server model. It uses UDP protocol for transport layer communication. UNS uses the hierarchical domain based naming scheme. The DNS server is configured with fully qualified domain name. Short form is FQDN for fully qualified domain name, and email addresses map with their respective internet protocol address. A DNS server is requested with FQDN and is responds back with the IP address mapped with it. DNS uses UDP port 53. This is all about the domain name system. Next is simple mail transfer protocol. Here the simple mail transfer protocol is used to transfer electronic mail from one user to another. This task is done by means of email, client software, user agents. The user is using user agent help the user to type and format the email and store it until internet is available. When an email is submitted to send, the sending process is handled by message transfer agent, which is normally come inbuilt in email client software. Message transfer agent uses the SMTP to forward the email to another message transfer agent, that is server side. While SMTP is used by end user to the only send the email, the server normally use SMTP to send as well as receive emails. SMTP uses the TCP port number 25 and 587. The client software uses the Internet Message Access Protocol or POP protocol to receive the email. File transfer protocol. The file transfer protocol is the most widely used protocol for file transfer over the network. FTP uses TCP IP for communication. And it works on TCP port 21. FTP work on client server model where a client requests file from server and server send request resource back to the client. Okay, FTP uses out of band controlling, that is FTP uses TCP port 20 for exchanging, controlling information, and the actual data is sent over the TCP port 21. The client requests the server for a file. When the server receives a request for a file, it opens a TCP connection for the client and transfer the file. After the transfer is complete, the server closes the connection. For a second file, client requests again and the server reopens a new TCP connection. Okay, next is post office protocol. Post office protocol. The post office protocol version 3 POP3 is a simple mail retrieval protocol used by user agents client email software to retrieve mails from mail server. When a client needs to retrieve mail from the server, it opens a connection with the server on TCP port 110. User can then access his mails and download them to the local computer. POP3 works in two modes. The most common mode, the delete mode, is to delete the emails from remote server after they are downloaded to local machines. The second mode, the keep mode, does not delete the email from mail server and gives the user an option to access emails later on the mail server. Okay, here is the hypertext transfer protocol, that is HTTP. The hypertext transfer protocol is the foundation of World Wide Web. Hypertext is well organized documentation system which uses hyperlinks to link the page in the text document. HTTP work on client server model. When a user wants to access any HTTP page on the internet, the client machine is user and initiates a TCP connection to server on port 80. When the server accepts the client request, the client is authorized to access web pages. Okay? To access the web page, a client normally uses web browser who are responsible for initiating, maintaining and closing TCP connections. TTTP is a stateless protocol, which means the server maintains no information about earliest request by clients. HTTP versions. HTTP 1.0 uses non-persistent HTTP. At most, one object can be sent over a single TCP connection. HTTP 1.1 uses the persistent HTTP. In this version, multiple objects can be sent over a single TCP connections. Here is the network services. Computer system and computerized system help human beings to work efficiently and explore the unthinkable. When these devices are connected together, to form a network, the capabilities are enhanced multiple times. Some basic services computer network or network can offer are First one is dictionary services. These services are mapping between name and its value, which can be variable value or fixed value. Okay, this software system help to store the information, organize it, and provide various means of accessing it. First one is accounting. In an organization, a number of users have their usernames and passwords mapped to them. Dictionary services provide means of storing this information in cryptic form and make available when requested. Okay, second one is authentication and authorization. User credentials are checked to authenticate a user at the time of login and or periodically. User accounts can be set into hierarchical structure and their access to resources can be controlling using the authorization scheme. Domain name services. Domain name services is widely used and one of the essential services on which internet work. This system map IP addresses to domain name which are easier to remember and recall than IP addresses. Because network operates with the help of IP addresses, and humans tends to remember website names. The DNS provides website IP address which is mapped to its name from the back end on the request of the website name from the user. This is all about the introduction, and in today's lecture we was go through the application protocols. Up to application protocols we cover one: file transfer protocol, post office protocol. Hypertext protocol also covered. Network services. In tomorrow's lecture we will start with the network services. Okay, thank you for today's lecture.